Ubisoft's The Division has seen some criticism in the last week or so about what to do once you finish the main story. Sure, there's a lot of cool story nuggets to find, like the phone recordings and the echoes, including a particularly moving one featuring Alexis Kwan. No spoilers. But once you've got those collected and the encounter missions finished, you have the Dark Zone to explore and the ability to repeat missions for better loot and extra credits, called Phoenix credits. Sound familiar? Well, it is kind of what Destiny did with their endgame. Although 2 years on, we've seen 3 expansions to that game and have a group of players that are screaming for more content. So the Division players are quite rightly annoyed that there isn't anything much to do, let alone anything social, once you finish the main campaign, and they don't want to end up like Bungie's Faithful, £40 to £80 down, and with little to show for it. One of the things I've found through playing the game is that something is missing, something that makes me want to do those missions again, and I've come to the conclusion that it's the story. Not the actual game's plot, but the little mini stories about the people in the levels, the enemies, and in particular, the boss battles. Can you name me a boss in the game, except the faction leaders like Charles Bliss, Lorraine Barrett, and the leader of the Cleaners, who I know is Joe Ferro, but I had to look it up to remind myself of the name? Well, you probably can name one in the Bullet King. The Bullet King was patched out after players found a way to exploit his spawning for farming XP and loot drops. Remember the loot cave, anyone? But the Bullet King is a bad guy mini-boss who is named. Now maybe this is my fault for not realising how many of these guys are named, or the game's fault for not making me want to get invested and learn this beyond shooting all of the things. But I have no challenging connection to these bosses outside of Joe Ferro, thanks to the AI chasing down my team, and the battle with Charles Bliss, which still feels a tad underwhelming personally. But the point I'm trying to make is that, compared to say Destiny, the bosses don't have the same kind of character that gives them that longevity. It's not a sentence I thought I'd ever say, so bear with me here. But Destiny actually does a very good job of telling a story and creating a character within its missions. You might not know what you're doing, and it's not quite emergent gameplay, but it's close and it's fun, and you can associate the people to the mission that you're playing. Here in this footage I'm doing a quick run through of the Sepix Prime Strike on Earth. You've played it 1,000 times on every difficulty, but you can say, still now, wow, that guy is a dick. You treat him, it, as a character. Same with Phogoth, the Nexus Mind Secrion, Zydron, the Gate Lord, etc, etc. There's something in the characterizations and the unique designs that give these bosses a more personable quality. What I found in The Division, much like the encounter missions, is that most end of level bosses can be quite derivative and therefore repetitive. Obviously the setting and the situation make the available options in design quite constricted, and all of the bosses or elites that guard the bosses of course have their various stages of attack. But I couldn't tell you any of their names. I know they are named, and I know there are named people in the Dark Zone and on the streets walking around, but they rarely change or give themselves any character. Instead, you get Bullet Sponge Double Hard Bastard Kevlar and you just sit back and time your shots. Plus, once you've killed these guys, they're gone. Except in the missions, and to be frank, they're not exciting enough to play against for continuous play, grinding, whatever you want to call it. What the game needs to do, in my opinion, is create challenges based around them, much like Destiny's bounties. Say you accept a challenge in Naboo, the base of operations, you do the missions as normal, and then you take the target out to get an extra bonus, or a requirement like you have to do it with a certain weapon type, something that brings a different gameplay dynamic. Of course that may sound like I'm trying to make this game like Destiny, and I'm not. I've not even played Destiny for a year until filming this footage because I didn't personally want to keep paying for it. But there's more that The Division can do with what it already has, which wouldn't take a great deal of patching in order to give players something to do with all their hard-earned Dark Zone extractions. Like all MMOs, there is a point where repetition can end enjoyment, but most games can get around this thanks to the varying locales and the regular expansions. Destiny has proved that just adding a few new missions isn't enough. Hopefully, The Division can learn from the feedback it has and from other games to make sure they don't lose their easy to pick up and play formula, but still give people that are at level 30 something new and dynamic to do rather than just upping the level cap or giving them cooler guns. Give us some reason to use them, please.